people leaving the South and going to inner cities and other
He just
parts
answered
of the
that
country
question for you.
have anything to, no, I said, does it have anything to do with the KKK,
Very little to nothing.
lynchings,
Yes.
and violence in the South that black people faced?
So what it has to do with is the fact that black people continue.
No, answer my question.
No,
Very little to
Does
nothing.
it? Yes or no?
Very
You're
little.
not allowing
Answer.
me to, listen, you're not going to be like, you're not my boss.
You
So
guys
don't
do the
tell
same
me,
shit.
don't
You
tell me
guys
how
talk
I
over
have to
people all the
answer
time.
your
I was just
question,
over there with
okay?
you shutting people down.
Nobody's intimidated from you telling me how I'm going to answer your
I'm not
question.
trying to intimidate you. I'm
You're not
trying to
going
have
to
an
cut, you're not
honest
going to cut me off,
conversation.
okay?
No, I'm trying to have an honest conversation, which you
why
guys
don't you
do
stop
not want to.
exercising your invisible white privilege and let the black girl talk for a second, okay?
Hi guys, my name is Nassima,
My name is Favor.
and you're welcome back to another episode on our channel. And on today's episode, we are going to be looking at how Candace Owens dismantles, a white liberal who thinks there's something called white privilege.
Yeah.
But we're going to actually, dissect it and understand what it's all about, so we can all drop our 2 cents on the video. So let's watch it together. Ready?
Yeah.
Was there ever a point in history where white privilege did exist?
Want to answer
No.
that?
Yeah, I suppose when we lived in a country where if you were black, you were not allowed to go into certain places, right? I suppose you could say again, and I guess that wouldn't be white privilege. You would call that Nordic privilege in the progressive era, when there were signs that said Irish need not apply. So that's a different, that is white on white, a lack of a privilege. Of course, there's examples in the history of the world where you would have been privileged if your skin was white, especially in this country and in other countries as well. But today, no, white privilege does not exist.
When did it end?
Over time, beginning with the civil rights era, it's not a particular incident or moment, but multi-generations, the country became significantly less racist. I would say after Reconstruction, after the Civil War, after, when we had desegregation, fought the Democrat institutional racism, we fought back against the KKK, when the Civil Rights Act was signed, when blacks were allowed to participate in Major League Baseball, the National Football League, the National Basketball Association, serve in elected office, all those things, contributed to the end of what used to be privilege in society, white privilege.
You said less racist. Is it still somewhat
No,
racist?
do you just have questions? I think.
No, you said you wanted a dialogue. We're having a
Oh, okay.
conversation.
No.
It's the least racist country in the world.
No, America is not a racist country today.
Is it still racist? So
No.
when did it end?
No.
There's
You
certain.
can't answer the question.
It ended
You
when
keep
it's.
on
It
bothering
ended.
with-
I just did.
Okay,
No, you didn't. You said less
I will
racist.
answer.
I'm
I'll
asking
answer.
when
I'm
did it
answering
end?
you.
Thank you.
When it stopped being systemic, when there stopped being laws in
Yes.
place that stopped
That's
me
a
as
great
a
answer.
black person doing what you are able to do as a white man.
No, I'm not asking that. Systemic racism is not simply that issue.
Yes, you just asked
about
me to
the
define when it stopped being, when this
What about
country
what?
stopped being racist. That's the answer.
When?
That I can't give you the exact date and time and hour. I'm telling you
Give
when.
me the decade.
What do you mean?
Mid-1970s.
Yeah, about
Mid-1970s.
yeah.
So mass incarceration affecting black and brown communities disproportionately
Because they
to
committed
their population.
because they committed more crimes.
They
Yeah,
committed
well,
more,
yeah.
As to why? Why did they commit more crimes? Is it
Because
they
we
are
ripped
black,
apart
or
the
was it
family.
because of
It's
their
not-
economic situation?
It's
I'm
absolute-
not fucking
What?
talking to you, dude.
Why don't wait, Tom? Why are liberals so angry? I can't figure out why
I'm
you're
not a
angry.
liberal.
Why are you angry
I'm not a liberal,
right
so
now?
stop assuming my political
Okay, well, you
affiliation.
just
Definitely not a
came out of
conservative.
nowhere and just start cursing.
No,
I
you
think
invited me up here,
I
raised
think-
my hand,
I know,
and
but
you said,
I'm saying
"Please
you
come
just
up
turned
here."
around
No,
and you're
stop
cursing
trying
at
to change
someone.
the-
Why don't you calm down? It's just a conversation.
perfectly calm. I can
Nobody,
curse
you
while
don't have to
being
turn
calm.
around and curse anyone behind you.
I can.
You're okay?
It's a free country, right?
Okay. No, but I'm saying that it's not necessary to have this dialogue for you to
Necessary.
turn around and be angry. I do always remark, and I am going to suspect that you are liberal because right now you're trying to sell me
I'm
my
not
own.
liberal.
You're
I
selling me
just
my own
said it.
oppression, so that's a very liberal
I'm not
stance.
liberal.
Usually, when a white man stands up and tells me that yes, this is a racist country and is oppressed, they do tend to be liberal. Only liberals try to sell me my
But
oppression.
I'm not.
But okay, I'm not going to assume your
Thank you. Thanks.
political ideology. So here's
I do.
here. I mean, to answer your question for me, when the system stops being racist and there's nothing stopping us, and you brought up the prison rates, and you said something that was actually really important. You said it's because their communities have been economically depressed. So that would not be because of the color of your skin. That's economic privilege. If you ask me whether or not I believe in economic privilege, I would tell you yes. If you ask me whether or not I think that somebody born into a family of billionaires be afforded more privileges in life than somebody that is born in the projects of Chicago, I would say yes, because economic privilege in this country does exist. But there is no law in place that is stopping a person because of the color of their skin from gaining that economic privilege, which is why I do not believe that white privilege, which is based upon the color of your skin, exists.
Is black poverty and white poverty different? Do
No.
they face different?
No,
That's
poor is poor.
That's a lie. White people are more likely to be in rural poverty, which is different than urban poverty.
That's because
in
black
close-knit-
people don't live in rural parts of America.
What?
That's because black people don't live in rural parts of America.
Why? Historically, why? Why did black people flock?
Because of Lyndon
to
Baines
urban-
Johnson, urban planning, central planning, Great Society, where he said we are going to verticalize the black community, destroy the black father, introduce drugs in the late 1960s, subsidize single motherhood, which used to be 22% in the 1960s, which is now 73%. Only a government program could make something like that happen.
Did it have anything to do with the lynchings in the South and the hostility towards black people in the South?
Well, first off, you say
Is there any
you're-
reason
you're
why they
sitting-
left the South
just
for that
so
reason?
just so everybody
Is that-
knows, literally not half people, 1/3 of the people that were lynched in the South were white Republicans. So Republicans were being lynched in the South as well. So let's not pretend that
okay,
if,
that's
if,
fine,
if your
but that's
argument,
not-
if you're
that's not
asking
addressing
me,
my
it
point. You're
seems
just-
like
that's a what about
it
argument.
seems
You
like
just addressed something else.
no. I just responded.
Does
You
it
said
have
it was a
anything
dialogue.
to do black people leaving the South and going to inner cities and other
He just
parts of
answered
the
that
country
question for you.
have anything to no? I said, does it have anything to do with the KKK
Very little to nothing.
lynchings
Yes.
and violence in the South that black people faced?
So what it has to do with is the fact that black people continue.
Answer my question.
No,
Very little to
you're-
Does
nothing.
it? Yes or no?
Very
You're
little.
not allowing
Answer.
me to, listen, you're not going to be like, you're not my boss.
You
So
guys
don't
do the
tell
same
me,
shit.
don't
You
tell me
guys
how
talk
I
over
have to
people all the
answer
time.
your
I was just
question,
over there with
okay?
you shutting people down.
Nobody's intimidated from you telling me how I'm going to answer your
trying to
question.
intimidate you. I'm
You're not
trying to
going to
have an
cut, you're not going to cut me off,
honest
okay?
No, I'm trying to have an honest
why don't you
conversation,
stop,
which you
why
guys
don't you
do
stop
not want to.
exercising your invisible white privilege and let the black girl talk for a second, okay?
That's nice. No, this has nothing to do with
Okay,
that.
so to answer your question,
So white privilege
everything
exists.
that you're
Wait,
talking
wait,
about-
wait, wait,
no,
wait.
I said invisible white privilege.
does it exist
I
then?
said invisible white privilege. If you listen,
Of course it's
okay?
invisible.
So
White
first
privilege is
things
not a
first,
tangible
white
thing.
privilege does not exist. Economic privilege does exist. Okay? If you're asking me, do I think the black community has been crippled economically? The answer would be yes. It has been crippled economically by Democrat policies. You just heard
Who
me
cares
say that
who
in
does
there.
it?
I
Democrats
care,
are
'cause that
Americans.
tells you-
Democrats are in America,
because
so
that
therefore
tells
you
you-
just
that
admitted
tells you-
that there has been disadvantages
it
by
is not
two
race.
black
It
people
is
by
not-
Democrats
it
who
is
are
not
American.
based
You
off
just
of
admitted
the.
it.
It is not based off. You asked
No.
me if white privilege exists. The answer is white privilege. Because you're born white, that means you're going to not
You
have this
just-
or that. It does not exist. No, it does
You
not
just
exist.
admitted that the Democrats, the boogeyman Democrats,
They're not boogeyman. They
disadvantaged
exist.
the black
Boogeyman
people.
doesn't exist.
No,
60 years
Democrats do
they
exist.
did it.
So
60
boogeyman means doesn't
years. They did
exist.
it.
Just so you know, there
We're
are
talking about
Democrats.
So
today.
you admit that it exists.
60.
I don't think you're comprehending.
Whoa.
You're not,
So,
you're
let-
not
let-
I'm
comprehending.
not sure that you are. You said
60 years ago, white people had it better than black people. Over time, there's no more systemic laws that are in place. Let me
disproportionately
ask you a
affect
question.
black people, do they?
Let me ask you a question. What can a white person
Do
do
we
that a black person
disproportionately-
cannot do today in today's America? Name one thing.
well, black people have a
Answer
harder-
the question. Isn't that
I'm about
how
to
this
answer
works?
The fucking question. Black people who smoke marijuana, black and white people smoke marijuana at the same rates. Yet a black person is 3 to 4 times more likely
I can
to be
answer
put
that.
in jail for that.
Okay,
And I
because-
know the reason why, because yeah, the police are in the urban
No,
communities. It's easier to police those communities. Sure.
because
But that-
actually, I had a girlfone. I had a family member who got a DUI, and I had a
You are
girlfriend who got a
disgraced,
DUI.
just to let you know, by just saying what you're saying and standing up here and knowing what's going on through the police brutality, through injustice,
I
all
love
this stuff.
this is so.
You're
I
a
guys,
joke.
I
You're a
love that
joke.
behind me. There's like black people rolling their eyes, but the two white guys are yelling at me, telling me that I don't agree with them. This is what I love about white liberals, right? Like they know
I'm not a
it's so
liberal.
important
You're a
for
Marxist.
them to sell us
No, I'm
our
not.
oppression that they'll come up and tell us we're a disgrace. Just
Do
say,
you speak
just
for all
say
black
it, just
people?
say it, just say it.
Can you speak for
well,
all
why
black
don't you
people?
stop speaking for black people? That would be
not?
great.
I don't know why this whole color of our skin is a problem in America today because, I think I said this thing the other time, which is that we blacks like to victimize ourselves so much. We like to think, oh, because I'm black and because of what we had to face in the past, our ancestors and all of that, that's the reason why we don't get as much, opportunities and privileges as much as the white people. But it's not so. It's because we've victimized ourselves so much. We always want people to pity us and, because of we've been through a lot in the past. So we don't want to actually do the right thing, or we just want to sit down and watch and let the government work on it for us. And that's not how it works.
Yeah.
You can't just, the reason why there is high rates of crime among the blacks in America is because we don't work. We don't want to. We don't do what the whites do. You know, a random white person, and there are a lot of white people in America currently that are jobless, that, you know, they are facing, you know, one or two challenges and all of that. But they don't get spoken about that much. But the moment a black person faces the same thing, boom, it's all over the news. Oh, it's because he's black. Oh, it's because he's black. That's why he didn't get this job opportunity. Oh, it's because he's black. That's why he wasn't opportune. But no, it's because, let me dissect it this way. A black person that is born into a normal household, maybe a middle class household, and a white person that is born into a middle class household, it is more likable that the white person would get, you know, to the top than the black person. Why? Because that black person, as they've put that mental knowledge in their head that, you know, we've been treated so unfair. So because of that, they don't want to, you know, study as hard as the white people because they feel like, oh, even if I study that hard or something, they're not going to favor me. They would not do this because I am black. But that is not it. There is nothing like white. There used to be white privilege before, but there's nothing like white privilege anymore.
No.
So we should stop lying to ourselves. If you really, really want to get that bag, work hard. Try to fight whatever challenges you get, even if it's not fair to you. Try to fight every challenges and get that bag legally. You don't need to victimize yourself by saying, oh, it's because of this person is white. That is why they are giving that person the opportunity. We're all human beings. Crazy things happen. I might not be fair to you. I might be fair to this other person. It's my choice. But that doesn't mean that it gives you that mentality. It's like, oh, because of that, let me go and victimize myself and go and shout to everybody so that everybody can come and help me. You victimizing yourself is just you telling people that they should pity you and give you opportunity because you are black. I think that is what I feel, because from everything Candace Owens talked about here, like she said, there is nothing like white privilege. There used to be, I won't lie, there used to be white privilege before, like let me say 60 to 80 to 100 years ago, but there isn't anymore. As a black person now, I can travel to any country I want to travel to. I can venture into any business I want to venture into. I can decide to go to any school that I want to go into. I can decide to even marry a white man, you know, have kids for a white man. I can decide to even be the boss, and, you know, the white men or white women would be working for me. So, well, where is the white privilege here? If I'm benefiting as much as a black person, what is the white privilege? If you're talking about police brutality and all of that, a lot of people face it, not just blacks. Asian people face it, Indians face it, who else again? I don't know, Hispanic people, they face it as well. So because we have majority of blacks in prison, have you even decided to check if they actually did it? They're all talking like as if, you know, the police just see a black person and they bundle them and throw them in prison because they're actually guilty of one or two, you know. Let me give you another scenario now. Most of all the trap songs, like rap music in Black America now, have you checked them, check the lyrics, check the videos to see what they talk about? They talk about their crimes, they sing about their robbery, what they did, how they went to prison, what they went to prison for, how they are gangsters, how they killed this person, how they killed that person because they messed with them, how they had to go into this particular drug business, you know. So where is the white privilege here?
They're actually suffering for what they actually did.
Exactly. You're suffering because if whoever, the law is the law, okay? Irrespective of what color you are. You kill somebody, this is the punishment for you. You rob, this is the punishment for you. You do, you know, everybody has different punishments. A lot of white people go to prison as well.
Yeah.
You know, homicide, this Jeffrey Dahmer case, I don't know if you heard about it, that didn't he go to prison? Why did they say, oh, because you're a white person, just go, you're immune? No, a lot of white people also get fired from their jobs if they don't do the right thing.
Yeah.
A lot of white people, so what are we saying? If we're really, really talking about white privilege, if there's anything like actual white privilege, then we won't be benefiting as much as they do. It would be clear as day to everybody, and I think if there's something called white privilege and it still existed today, Candace Owens will have talked about it because she's a very smart person. So why is it that the liberals are always angry whenever they want to like talk about something. They're always so angry and aggressive. And it's like it's changing from a conversation to an accusation. And it's not fair. If you're going to look at it, it's not, you can't ask me a question and you're still angry at the way I respond to your question. It doesn't make sense. Let's be logical for once. Let's stop using our feelings to think. Let's start using what we have up here to think. We're in a society where you can move wherever you want to move. Have your facts, gather your, get your research, and try to understand if what you're actually fighting for is even worth fighting for. I don't know. What do you think?
Okay, so, yeah, like you just said, right? That guy, he said he's not a liberal, but he was just demonstrating
Exactly.
the attributes of a typical liberal person.
A gullible one.
Because
at that.
Usually, right, when a liberal comes to ask a question in their interviews and all of that, they don't let you land. You ask the question, allow them to answer it, but no, you don't even want them to land, and then it's beginning to look like it's a fight or something. I mean, you came to get knowledge, right? Wait for the knowledge to be given to you, but no, you don't want that. You just want to turn it into a fight. And I feel like that's one thing that I have seen in a lot of liberal people when they come up to ask questions and all, and then it just seems like, oh, this is not just being logical anymore. This is more of their emotions coming into play. They just feel a certain kind of way, and then they want to impose it on another person to also feel that way, and then that's not how it works. I mean, we should be logical in these things if we actually want to see growth. And there is nothing that a white person can do in the US that a black person cannot do.
Exactly.
There is nowhere that a white person can work that a black person cannot work. There is no school a white person can go to that a black person cannot go to. In fact, generally, there is nothing. You know, whenever Charlie King asks, okay, because I've seen him ask this question like a lot of times, what is one thing that a white person can do that a black person cannot do?
Yes.
They begin to go around in circles.
Actually, in fact, I feel like there are a lot of things that black people won't do, not because they can't, but they won't do because they feel they're black. They have this inferiority complex already, like, this firm is actually a very big firm.
Whenever that
I don't
question
want to
is
go
asked,
because I'm black.
It's something that happens over and over again. Whenever that question is asked, right? These people begin to go around in circles. Just name one thing. I mean, it's a very simple question. Because there is actually nothing like that. There is nothing that a white person can do that a black person cannot do. I don't think there's anything like white privilege, because that is you saying that a person is privileged because of their race. I can understand if you say, okay, there is economic privilege. Because obviously, you cannot compare a very rich person to a middle class person. They would obviously not attain the same thing.
Definitely.
There are places that a very rich person can go into that a middle class person may not be able to go into without so much hard work. In fact, there's something called generational wealth, where children of like billionaires don't even have to work
or anything.
Right?
Definitely.
So those things actually do exist, where you say, oh, this person is privileged because of the riches that his parents have gathered over time. This person is privileged because of their economic situation where they've gotten to in their finances and all of that. And then I can actually understand that, because yes, that actually works. In fact, I've seen it come to play. You know, there are a lot of rich people that their children don't even have to suffer. They don't even have to, stress as much as a middle class person would actually stress, look for a job and all of that. Those kind of people, they just get jobs and all of that. And that's fine. But you now saying that it is because of the race of a person, that is why the person is doing so and so thing, and this other person is not. It's not even logical. And then it's not even seen come into play. But then they keep saying white privilege. But there's nothing like that, really. Let's say things as it is, right? Yeah. I'm sure that even these people that ask these questions, they know that there is nothing like white privilege, but then they just allow their emotions come into play. He was talking about a white person and a black person will smoke marijuana, and they most likely will pick the black person up. Trust me, if they see the white person where they see the black person, they're also going to pick the white person up. They're not just going to pick the black person and leave a white person down, right? So let's just be logical about these things. It's most likely that
the thing is that the reason why a lot of black people feel victimized and all of that is because, I don't know why, but a lot of black people in America, they feel like whenever they commit a crime, but because of we face racism and all of that in the past, automatically we should be pitied and just,
it's just this pity party stuff. And It's
No.
doing a lot of harm than good.
A lot
honestly.
of black people prefer actually to do more of illegal stuff than actually go for the legal one. Why? Because they want this sudden rush of finance. They want to have that same privilege that, you know, people that have generational wealth have. So they try to do a lot of crazy things to meet up just so that they can show like, yeah, I'm capable too. But that doesn't work that way.
It really doesn't.
You have to
right?
remember, before you think about the color of your skin, also remember that, okay, financially, can I even meet up to this person? It could be that the white people, maybe they might be a lot richer than the blacks, maybe because of, you know, generational wealth that they've gotten from our ancestors, or because
And it's not even us trying to pull a person down.
Exactly.
But that is what it is, right? Let's live in our reality. If you don't have as much money as this person, it's
Work
going to be
hard.
hard, except you like work and, you know, work your ass out and actually, you know, get to that level that person is at. But then that person is definitely going to have it easier than you that is
Definitely.
trying to build from scratch.
Definitely.
That's just what it is.
And I feel like it is because of a lot of black people in the black African American communities, especially the black communities. I feel like the reason why most of them, you know, feel that way is because, like I said, the slavery thing and all of that, and because
that's
of
in
one
the
of
past.
maybe majority, I'm going to say this again, majority of whites these days are very, very friendly and lovely. I've met a lot of them at the airports, schools, you know, they want to even be your friend, they want to understand. We have series of white people coming down to even Africa to try and learn
our
culture.
cultures and all of
Exactly. A
that.
lot of them, they want to mix with you, but because of we have victimized ourselves so much, we don't want to mingle with them. They say hi, we're like, why are you telling me hi? Is it because of I'm black or something? No, it's not about that. Try to know the person first. I'm not gonna lie, there are a lot of, you know, there are definitely races, black and white. Anybody can be racist.
I feel like black racists are even worse.
They're even worse
Honestly,
now. The same thing
they're
that we're
crazy.
advocating against
It's
is what
crazy.
we're turning into, and it doesn't make sense anymore because now it's like you're doing the very same thing that you are preaching against.
Yeah.
And it's not. I don't think it's making sense anymore. And if we continue like this, racism will never ever get eradicated from
It
from
will just
society.
keep getting worse.
It will keep
honestly.
getting worse, and the more we become hostile towards the whites, we might force the government into doing something terrible that might affect us the most. We can't fight for so long, fight so hard just to be heard, to have a place and be able to have freedom, just for us to do something stupid like being racist and hating towards the white people. And then what if this thing takes us back to where we are coming from? And then that same freedom that we fought for, we don't have that anymore.
I feel like what we should just have in mind is that before we look at the colors of our skin, right, we should always just remember that we're first humans.
Definitely.
We are all humans.
And check your pockets to know if you can match up to that white person that
Exactly.
you are envying.
It's not that hard.
Anyways, let us know what you think in the
Yeah.
comment section. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. My name is Nesima.
My name is Favor.
Bye.
Bye.